Peter Ingrasselino here with Food and Real Estate Talk Live. We're featured on Amazon, Firefly TV, Roku TV, and Apple TV worldwide. So all you have to do is go to your TV, go to the little search bar, type in Food and Real Estate Talk Live, and hey, we're there. Okay, all over the TV, all over the world. I mean, it's just a great broadcast that we're doing. We're talking about food, real estate, combining them together, all different types of aspects. But today we're going to talk about scenarios. We all live our lives. We all go through daily experiences, right? And during our days, we have scenarios, and these scenarios can be comical, they can be funny, they can be heartbreaking, they can be absolutely outrageous. I mean, they're all different types of standards. I mean, whatever we're doing in our lives at the moment, right? Today, this scenario is a life scenario that happened to me in real estate. And I just wanted to share this because it actually just mind blowing for what I went through and my clients had gone through. So it all kind of started. I'm in an office, right? I'm not going to mention names because I can't do that, but we'll do things with a little fine line here. So I'm in an office and somebody turns around and goes to me, "Hey, Pete, you got any clients interested in this kind of property?" And I'm like, "Let me take a look at it." So I'm handed a big packet of blueprints, right? And I'm standing there and I'm going through the blueprints. And sure enough, I'm like, wow, this is kind of interesting, right? So I get on the phone right there and then, and I call up my client. I'm going to say, "Hey, guys, are you interested in this kind of property?" They said, "Sure, Pete, set up the meeting right away." So I get off the phone. I go to the other agent. I'm like, "Hey, my clients are interested. Let's set up a meeting." So we figure out a time, a place. We're going to do it at the office, right? So a couple days later, there's about 7 of us with the agent, the broker, and my clients. And we sit down with the blueprints behind closed doors and we're going through it and talking about it and so on. So my clients are like, "All right, hey, let's go see this property." This property is almost $2 million. It's a piece of land, right? Almost $2 million. So the other agent turns around and goes to me, "Well, here's the directions." What? Wait a second. You're the listing agent for almost $2 million piece of property, and you're giving me directions. All right, hey. So we all get in our car. They were a little confused, my clients too. Like, "Aren't you coming? I mean, you know more about this property than anybody. Let's bring the blueprints with us." Well, we couldn't bring the blueprints with us either. So we drive out to this property, and we're walking around, and we have, of course, tons of questions, right? So we call up the other agent, and we get very vague answers. So I try to smooth things over and talk to my clients. Said, "All right, let me take this all in and all the questions that you guys have. Let's walk the property a little bit more." I mean, we're talking about 90 plus acres. So we can't walk 90 plus acres, right? We don't have any freaking ATVs or our cars or anything. And so we're going to have to come back another day. So we leave, we reconvene, we ask all these questions and so on from the other agent. Still vague answers. "Hey, can we go back out there with a drone at least?" "Oh, yeah, you could do that." So we go out there with the drone and we look at the video on the way back, and then we start talking about it. And then all the clients look at the video again. We have more questions, and then we put a package of questions together, right? So the other agent goes, "So what do you think?" Well, we have all these questions. So we ask all the questions. Not all of them got answered. And my clients are like, "Hey, let's make an offer." So we make an offer. We put an LOI together. Okay. So at this point, the LOI goes into play, and I ask for the listing agreement. "Oh, well, we have it." "Okay, well, I need to see the listing agreement, right?" "Well, what do you need to see that for?" Excuse me? What do you mean what do I need to see the listing agreement for? "Well, what do you need to see that for?" "Just put it in the offer." "Well, I want to see what the listing agreement says, the asking price, the commission, the address, the attorney information, and so on and so on, right?" "Oh, well, we'll get that to you. Just send in the LOI." So I, once again, smooth things over with my clients, and I have them turn around and sign the listing agreement. So I make a call. "Hey, guys, I got the listing agreement. So the broker intervenes, this guy Andrew, right? Let's name him Andrew, right? Goes, I'll get that for you. Just meet me at my office at this day. Okay. So I go to the office. I'm sitting there, and Andrew goes, do you have the LOI? And I'm like, yeah. And I show it to him, right? I don't give it to him. I show it to him. It's signed. We offer close to the $2 million. And he gets on the phone and calls his processor. Hey, do we have that listing? What? Wait, you don't even have the listing? Oh, we have a one-time showing. Well, then why'd you tell me you had the listing? You don't even have that document signed. A one-time showing? Okay. Well, show me that. Well, I'll get that to you. I'll get that to you. Leave me the LOI. No, 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 no. I'm not leaving you the LOI. Show me all the documents. Come back tomorrow. I promise I'll have it for you. Okay. So he calls me on the phone the next day, the broker, Andrew, and he goes, hey, Pete, I got that listing agreement for you. Great. He goes, do you want to see it? I said, you know what? I'll be back by the office later on. I'll send you the LOI. So I email him the LOI, right? And the next thing I know is I go to the office. Well, he's not there. Okay. He's running a little bit late. So the guy comes in, all disturbed and everything. And I have another issue the bone to pick, but we're not going to talk about that. That's a whole other scenario. And I'm like, are you okay? And he goes, no, I'm not doing good today. My mother this and my mother that, my mother this. And I'm like, not to get into the personal stuff. And I said, I'm terribly sorry. Maybe now's, not the time to go over this. And no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, so can I see that listing agreement? And he starts shuffling papers around. And then he goes, oh, here it is. Right? And he shows me this piece of paper. So I start looking at it. And I'm like, Andrew, it's not even signed by the client. It doesn't have a price on it. It doesn't have a date on it. It just has my information on it. Well, what do you need the listing agreement for? And I said, well, my clients are asking for it, and I need to show it to them because we're talking about a $2 million piece of land here. I mean, it's just common sense, right? Do you have it or not? And all of a sudden, we got slams the desk, papers flying everywhere, stands up. And then he gets in my face, and I'm like, whoa, what in the world is going on here? So I get up from the chair sitting in his office. I open up the office door, and I start backing myself out. I'm like, this guy's nuts. All I'm doing is asking for the listing agreement. So we're in the lobby of the office. I mean, for God's sake. And we start screaming. And I'm like, dude, Andrew, if you go to ShopRite and you grab a can of peas and it doesn't have a price tag on it, you're going to ask the lady at the register or somebody in the store or a manager how much the can of peas is because you want to buy it, right? You're not just going to grab the can of peas and walk up to the register and be surprised. No, you're going to want to walk to the shelf in ShopRite, grab the can of peas and say, oh, it's $1.09. Great. That's all I'm asking you for is a piece of paper showing all the information. And you can't even do that to me. Do you even have the listing? Then, all of a sudden, yelling and screaming, you don't understand. I've been doing this for 30 years. Okay, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. You could be doing it for one day, 100 years. Where's the listing agreement? $2 million on the table here. Need to give it to my clients so we can all sign it. Then all of a sudden, his nose is on my nose, his two hands are on my chest, and he gives me a little push. And I'm like, what the F just happened here? Like, wow. Leave, F you, F that, how dare you? All I did was ask for the listing agreement as proof that you had the listing. So apparently, later on, we have a one-day showing. We don't have a listing agreement. We don't have any documentation of the signature from the owner of the property even agreeing for us to go even on his property to see the land. We don't have a solid price. We don't have a solid commission. We don't have solid anything. It was just like, hey, this sounds great. Let's have a meeting. Let's see if these guys are really interested. Let's have them draw up the LOI with a price tag on it of what they want to offer. And let me take that piece of paper and bring it to a potential client and shove it under his nose and say, hey, I know you're looking to sell your property, right? Look what I got. Let's work something out. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that, right? So now I have clients that want to buy this property. I have a broker, Andrew, that's in my friggin' face because he doesn't have the proper paperwork because he's covering his butt, right? He's covering the agent's butt. And I get thrown out, and my clients are baffled that they want to buy a piece of property and we have no documents. Can you imagine that? So, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has any kind of scenarios in that nature. I mean, to me, that's not even a pocket listing. I mean, and they're illegal to begin with. I mean, so this scenario altogether is just really, really, really messed up, I'd say, right? So, anyway, then this whole scenario goes on, right? And then I get an email stating that my client doesn't want to do business anymore because you're taking too long. Taking too long? What am I taking too long with? So what happened was the agent turned around and actually got a listing finally after the fact. Okay. And then we retrieved all the documents. Now imagine the thickness of the blueprints for 90 plus acres. Okay. That were drafted out for 200 plus homes and commercial property. So this property owner had an entire stack of blueprints and approvals and permits to build. This is fabulous, right? Okay. Do you know what kind of due diligence it takes and legwork to make sure that all this is sound and body after what just happened? It takes a little bit of time, right? Every other day, the agent, are you guys ready? When are we going to close? 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 Dude, relax. This takes time. So the attorneys talk. The attorneys are on the same page. But all of a sudden, we get this email, that email earlier I was telling you about, from the agent. You're taking too long. My client's backing out. What? Well, that's not true because we talked to the owner of the property through his lawyer, and we have a timeline of when we're going to do this. How'd this come about? Well, the agent took it upon himself to do this. What? Because it is taking too long for him. Taking too long for him. And the broker is just allowing all this. Like, wow. Flabbergasted, right? So the deal's a done deal, right? Okay. Well, he has a one-day showing, right? Okay. So it's fair game for anybody to make a phone call. So what do? Hey, owner, what's going on? Why'd you squash the deal? Hey, Pete, what are you talking about? I didn't squash the deal. Really? Yeah. Great. Let's meet up at Starbucks. Okay. Let's have coffee. Let's talk about it. We meet at Starbucks and we find out that it was all BS with the agent and the broker. What? Why? Because we weren't moving quick enough for the broker to close out his money at the end of the month to make him look great and the agent to look great. So it's dragging and you don't like that? So you squash it? No, come on. So has anybody had any kind of scenarios similar to this? In the meantime, yes, we are still working on the deal with the client. But this whole scenario that we went through, the yelling, the screaming, the pushing, the shoving, the name calling, the unprofessionalism. I've been doing this for 30 years, Mr. Andrew saying to me, you run an office. I mean, you're supposed to be working for your client. I mean, what happened to taking care of your client and doing the best for your client? And you like, and then treating people the way you did. Come on. I mean, I know it's crazy out there in the world today, but is it that bad that we all need to behave the way it went down? No, 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 not good. So anyway, that's a scenario that I went through. If anybody ever else went to scenarios similar to that, I'd love to hear it. I really would, because every day that we are out there hitting the pavement, talking to clients, talking to other agents or brokers, or talking to anybody in the real estate field, or just anybody in general. I mean, God, it could be you're like walking through a shop, right? You just bump into somebody by accident. It's like all hell breaks loose. I mean, everybody's on a time bomb right now, but I mean, this is business. I mean, it's not like you're buying something for a penny. I mean, it's close to $2 million deal. It's just absurd. So anyway, once again, Peter Ingrasselino here. Food and Real Estate Talk Live. Amazon, Roku, and Firefly TV.